Okay.
All right, so this is the preamble kind of stuff. You should be muted. Pam can help you get unmuted a little bit later when we do some questions. We hit the record button. Pam did that for us. These look like our sponsors. I wasn't instructed to say too much, but I'll say thank you to these folks who helped put this event together.
Yes.
Today, John Wackman and I are here to talk about Repair Cafe and community resilience. My name is Casey Conlin. I'm the Library Sustainability Coordinator at the Mid-Hudson Library System, and I'm also a repair coach. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later, but we're really lucky to have John here today. John is the co-author of a new book coming soon. It's called The Repair Revolution, How Fixers Are Transforming Our Throwaway Culture. He is co-author with Elizabeth Knight. John is also a huge champion for libraries, and I am really, truly, personally grateful for the work that he's done in the Hudson Valley and in the United States to actually spread repair cafes in my hometown and in the area where we live in downstate, technically, New York in the Hudson Valley. He's done a lot of great work, and he is well renowned for it. I really love repair cafes. I work as a coach. I love fixing stuff, but I also appreciate the greater benefits of repair cafes. They're something that you can do right now to increase the sustainability and the resilience in your communities. And you're going to tap into resources in your community in the form of repair coaches. You don't have to be able to fix everything. And like any good library program, you're reaching out and you're expanding your reach by touching more people and bringing them in to help the other people in your community, which is going to increase your resilience. You're going to be fixing people's beloved and practical things while saving them money and saving the Earth's resources. And even beyond that, you'll be teaching people and empowering them with the repair mindset that John's going to tell us about, and bringing them together, which we all know makes communities more resilient when people are brought together. So today we're going to talk about why you should want to repair and do repair cafes, what happens at Repair Cafe, and I'll give you a hint, it doesn't stay at Repair Cafe, it gets out there. How you can get started, and even what you can do amidst COVID-19, and then we're going to do some questions. So first though, I wanted to take a look if anybody, I see some people are starting in here, but please use the chat box. Let us know where you're joining us from. We have a good amount of people here so far. We have a lot of people actually. And I want to know, what's your experience with Repair Cafe? How familiar are you with them? And you know, do you run them all the time? Something in between? Are you wondering about them? Are you cafe curious? Or do you just love getting stuff repaired at the Repair Cafes? So I see we got some folks from Illinois and Idaho and Connecticut, John, and San Francisco. That's pretty far.
Yeah, this is great.
Well, a lot of C's here. People are wondering about the Repair Cafe. So I think it's good that we came out today digitally to talk to them. Do you want to talk a little bit about Repair Cafe and what goes on, John?
Okay, well, yes, let's get started. The first slide that was up while Casey was introducing our session here is the Repair Cafe in Gardner, New York. And it was the first library to adopt Repair Cafe in our region. And I do hope you had a good chance to kind of look and see what all was happening, what was going on in that room. Now our session today includes a lot of photographs. And that is because, yeah, we believe that photographs tell a great story. And we are calling this Repair Cafe. However, I want to broaden that out immediately to really say that this is community repair. I see someone joining us from Buffalo, for example, and in Buffalo there's a Dare to Repair Cafe. There are fix-it clinics. There are repair labs and repair hubs. In Chicago, there is a community glue workshop that does repair. So by any other name, you know, these are all community repair events. So Casey, take us back to the inputs and outcomes, because this is something that Casey and I talked about, how to basically set the stage here. And at a repair event, well, what are the inputs? Well, they are things in need of repair or mending. Almost every item that people bring has meaning. Almost every item has a story. What are the other inputs? Well, they are your neighbors with skills. They are guys and gals with a sophisticated level of repair. It involves the use of tools, the use of your hands. It involves curiosity and questions. And because it's, it's a very social setting, it involves coffee, tea, fruit, and baked treats. And home baked treats are the best. So these are all inputs to a repair experience. And then what are the outcomes? Well, the outcomes, of course, are items that get repaired or mended. And another outcome are the things that you learn, the curiosity that is satisfied. Another outcome would be our sense of agency, if you're familiar with the use of that term, where we feel that we are more capable than we were before. And one thing that we say is that we cannot guarantee that the item you bring to a repair cafe will be fixed. All we can guarantee is that you'll have an interesting time. And you may think that, people would say, oh my goodness, I brought something to the repair cafe and it was fixed, or my goodness, it was free. But I will tell you that the phrase that people use more often than any other, hands down, is it was fun. So go ahead, Casey, and advance us through some more of these pictures. And you see the interaction. Casey mentioned that he's been a repair coach, and that in fact is the term that we use for the people, the guys and gals who come with skills to share with their neighbors. So let me say now, give you a definition of what a repair cafe is. It is a free community meeting place to bring a beloved but broken item to be repaired by an expert who is also your neighbor. And that is the core dynamic, that the person with the skills is someone within your community. And when we talk about resiliency, that of course is one of the core values, is that you are building the strength of your community through the skills in your community. When we started this, we thought, oh my goodness, to fix things, we're going to need a lot of parts. We're not a hardware store. We're not a parts store. How are we going to do this? But in fact, well, I should say, I thought that might be the case. But very quickly, we learned that things stop working because a connection has been lost. And the repair, the activity of repair is identifying that lost connection and restoring it. And in a very large number of cases, the fix is simply cleaning.
Routine maintenance, right?
Well, maintenance is very important. And of course, what we have now is, it used to be that we knew where to take things that were not working. That knowledge, every town had its repair shops. Everyone knew where to go to get something fixed, and that know-how was close at hand. But in our throwaway society, in fact, most products are not made to last. They are made to break. And so here we have a situation where, my goodness, and here's one place that I love to quote Martina Postma, who is the founder of Repair Cafe in the Netherlands. And she says, things break. And when they do, most people just don't know what to do anymore. They have no repair skills, they have no tools, and no time to focus on the subject. And so when something breaks, they feel helpless. But at the same time, there are people in every community, in your community, who do know how to make repairs and who are so fond of tinkering that they are more than happy to help their neighbors and try to fix things together. So this is really, repairing in community is powerful because of the way it brings people together. And so we say community repair is about these things. It's about extending the useful life of things that you care about and rely on. It's feeding your curiosity about the way things work. It's about using tools and using your hands. It's about honoring, preserving, and passing on repair know-how. It's about sitting elbow to elbow at a work table with your neighbor. It's about sharing skills, reducing waste, and making friends. There's an insight that we can trace back to Aristotle, and that is that one of the greatest sources of human enjoyment is being able to enact our knowledge and share our knowledge. So, so here are two slides that I think underscore what you achieve when families come to a repair cafe. I think these two photographs convey so much, and you know, the idea of bringing people from all parts of your community into a single room with things that they care about, you know, things that they really would like to keep. They really don't want to throw them away, but where else would they bring them? We just don't have those options anymore. And repair culture aims to bring that back. All right, so here is something that you may recognize. It's a mending circle. So what is achieved? What does, you know, what do you witness? What do you appreciate when you see a group of people sitting around a single quilt to repair it? Attention, my goodness. The attention and the concentration in the room is really quite remarkable.
So this is a line that came from the book that I thought was pretty powerful and John shared with me. I've actually read the book because I'm a librarian. I got to read the book, right? I got an advanced copy. It comes out next month. It's very cool. It's got some how-tos that we're going to go over later too about how to get Repair Cafe started and a little of the ethos behind repair. So a fixed thing is a beautiful thing. And, you know, as John alluded to, and I always love personally in my own life is, you know, if something has that visible kind of mend to it, it's not necessarily a defect anymore. It's almost like a badge of pride for me. I have things that I fix for my family and we take them out places and then people say, well, that's really interesting, you know? And my kid will say, oh yeah, my dad got this at the dump, you know? And I'm like, don't tell him that, come on. Like, you know, yeah, you know, I can tell the guys, but come on, don't be bragging about the stuff from the dump. And, you know, but that's the thing is, you know, yes, we took this. We didn't have to have this come all the way from China. They're not virgin materials. This thing did not go to waste. We pulled this out of the waste stream. And I can fix a lot of things. And I have a Repair Cafe. I don't know if John has pictures of all the things I fixed, but I fixed vacuum cleaners and dolls and bird feeders. I fixed a really gross electric shaver one time, 2 of them actually. But I'm just one person. And so there are so many people who are out in our communities who are ready to share their talents with their neighbors and to do this work and to help their neighbors and to help the library. And I think that's one of the key roles that libraries play, is we are connectors in our communities. And a lot of times we do that with books, right? Like, oh, you need help? I got a book for you. You need help? I got an internet thing for you. But we can also do it with people, and we do that when we have programs. And Repair Cafe is one of the examples where we can do that, where we find things that are actually in our community that are going to help people preserve the things that they love and learn new things.
So this is something that we enjoy doing. Most repair cafes have some version of this sign that says "Fixed it." So, you know, when your item gets fixed, it's really fun to you know, sit and have a picture of yourself with the item. And you know, I should say that, of course, no surprise, we are very active on social media, on Facebook and on Instagram. At the end, you'll see the basic handle for, you know, being able to visit those pages. And, you know, these are the stories. We love to tell those stories.
Ooh, irons, those are a little tough. I actually learned, and that's a good point. I learned how to fix irons at the Repair Cafe from this guy named Ken Fixit, who lives in my town, and I met him all the way down in Rockland County. And I was like, hey, Ken, what do I do about this? Because it's an iron. It's a little bit scary. I don't want anybody to burn themselves. And he said, you know what happens with those? The wires just wear out, but if you snip that wire and open that thing up, you can pull the wire up a little bit, and the cord will be maybe 6 inches shorter, but it's worn out in that last 6 inches, but it's still going to work. And so the woman that I was sitting with who had this iron, I told her, I said, hey, look, this is, you see right here, we can see using the multimeter that there's no continuity here. We can see that the circuit isn't being completed here. And so, what do you think if we make this cord 6 inches shorter? And she said, sure. She said, yeah, it'll still work. And I said, that's great. And this is something that I really love about Repair Cafe. And John used the word agency before, and this is stuff that I try to teach my children. And I try to teach anybody who comes to Repair Cafe. And that's one of the important parts of Repair Cafe, is that people come and I make connections with my neighbors. I make connections with other people. And I also get to teach people. And I like to think of it as this literacy of things. And John alluded to it before too, is, people are not taught. Things are not built to be repaired. They are out there for sure, but it's not the rule anymore. It used to be once upon a time, things had removable parts and replaceable parts, but more often when you open something up, it's some kind of plastic bracket in there that's broken and there's really no fixing it. But when you show people, when you hand them the screwdriver, hand them the ratchet, give them, maybe not the soldering iron, that might be a little bit dangerous, but when you show them this and they figure out, oh my goodness, this is what's inside here, that's really what libraries are about, and library programs for me are about, is when you're helping people who are inspired by their curiosity take that first step on their journey to pursue their passions and to learn new things and better themselves.
Yeah, and one thing that we ought to be sure to say is that Repair Cafe is not a drop-off service. So you bring your item and you stay with it. You sit down across the table from a repair coach like Casey, or in my case, my skill set is woodworking. So, and basically you tell the story of the item you brought. When did it stop doing what it's supposed to be doing? How did it get that tear or that fray? These are, this is the interpersonal exchange that is, so much the character of community repair.
So the other thing is it's definitely a huge learning experience. My daughter, she's going to be 10 soon. She comes to the Repair Cafe with me, and she has gotten to sit at the textile table. I'm not saying she's always doing the best fixes, but she's seeing things and learning things next to the people who are seasoned and who know these skills. And she's getting to learn these skills from her neighbors. And she's actually built a relationship with these folks. And because she's the librarian's daughter, right, people are bringing her books. I got all these horse books that I got now. But my daughter loves it, and a little sewing kit. And that's a real relationship that's built that wouldn't get built necessarily if we just walked by on the street or if I just knew that this woman was down the road.
Yeah, and so I would say, let's move on to repair and resilience. And basically, the value of repair lies in being able to care for and maintain and repair. A goal of this is to restore repair as a basic social value, not as something that is unusual, but as something that is available and part of everyday experience. And here's a phrase that we love. When we take up repair, we prompt a conversation into the ethics and the practice of care, of things, sure, but also of each other, our environment, and our communities. And it's important to say that our book, Repair Revolution, and this entire movement is really, it does address much more than the repair of things. We are talking about the repair of community relationships and of our environment, and ultimately of our planet. So repair is both a radical act of resistance to the unmaking of our environment and our world. It is also a humble act of resistance to the unmaking of our environment and our world. Both are true. I want to just touch on very briefly now two concepts that you can explore further. We certainly treat them fully in the book. And one is the circular economy, which is basically, as you can see in this great illustration, that it does not treat things as waste. It treats things as resource. So, it's the difference between waste management and resource recovery. And then on the right is the repair manifesto, which is the right to repair movement. Basically challenges what many companies are doing to make their products difficult or expensive or even impossible to repair. So the right to repair movement has been growing, and it is important to pay attention to when we talk about the repair culture and repair economy. We want to bring repair back, as we say, as a part of our normal economy. This clever illustration has a quote to go with it, and here is that quote. All over the world, people are pooling their resources, sharing information, and learning how to be more than just consumers. They are learning to be fixers, and they are starting to fix their world. And so now we should talk about, how do I get one of these in my town? This question was asked of Elizabeth Knight, my co-author, and I, more times than we can count. And so it's something that we addressed quite extensively in the book. I saw a question in the chat, would we share our waiver? And that's going to come up, but here's a lovely picture of the Stanford Free Library, not too far from where Casey and I live. This was their brand new library building, and they were so excited to have a repair cafe in their new space just as soon as they could schedule it.
John, Elizabeth, I want to shout out to Elizabeth. I see her in the chat box. She is doing super well at answering questions for us in that chat box, which is really cool.
Thank you.
And in the book, you and Elizabeth go over how to get a repair cafe going in your community. But you're not going to go out there and start repairing stuff for folks, right? That's not how it works.
Well, you will, yes, the question that many people ask is, where do we find the repair talent? And the thing that we will say is, be assured, those people live in your town. And when you put out the word, and it's in many ways, it's really just basic networking. You're looking for people with these skills. Start with who are the professionals in your town. Connect with the retirees in your town. And then there are the hobbyists. And I will tell you that libraries are a great source for, putting out that word and identifying who these people are and explaining, what you have in mind, and they will come. This was our schedule from last March. We got only as far as March 8th before, the curtain came down for the pandemic. But here you will see the variety of locations and hosts for repair cafes, and by extension, all kinds of repair initiatives. So there's a library, school of art, fire department, town halls, churches, community centers, senior centers. It is really a tremendously varied, group, appeal. It's a very broad appeal. So you'll find partners, and I, encourage you to seek partners. Casey, you were talking to me about how, well, if a library wants to host a repair cafe and help organize a repair cafe, it doesn't necessarily have to take place in the library. You can find another space in town. Partnerships are, always good, and so seek them out. Here is our basic waiver, and it basically, says that, in so many words, you knew what you were getting into. There is no guarantee, as I say, that your item will be repaired. And and it reminds people that this is an all-volunteer community service project. In other words, we are doing this for each other.
So John, what's been going on since COVID? In New York, we were hit pretty hard in March. And a lot of places around the country and the world are still, social distancing. How do you do repairs in the midst of COVID?
Well, the space has been filled with a very creative variety of what we've been calling interim repair, and so lots of virtual repair events. On the last slide, Casey has the website that is a ongoing listing of virtual repair events, and those are primarily Zoom. And the interesting thing is that they are truly national and international in origin, and the people, you'll see a gallery of repair coaches there, and then there are breakout rooms. They have been getting better and better, which is to say more and more effective at actually bringing an item or helping to repair an item that you bring in front of your laptop camera. We've also had a lot of DIY workshops, on a single theme. I will tell you that in the spring, how to repair a sewing machine was very popular and in fact very significant, because so many people were bringing out their sewing machines, bringing them out of the closet, wanting to get them working again so that they could make masks.
That's great. All right, so just to leave you off with a couple more resources, as we mentioned, the book is super, super good. I did get to read it because John sent me an advanced copy. One of the perks of doing a presentation with him, and thank you again to Elizabeth Knight on there who helped write the book. Love the book. It's got more info on how to set it up in there and more about the ethos of the Repair Cafe and the repair movement. Some of the resources on this page are also good too: repaircafe.org, repaircafeusa.org, the Repair Cafe Hudson Valley social media pages. John is awesome at taking pictures and posting it on there, and it is so important. It's like if something gets fixed at Repair Cafe in the Hudson Valley and you don't take a picture of it and post it, did it really happen, right? The other thing, that last thing there is what John was talking about. That is the virtual Repair Cafe. Slide, yes, right, John?
The listing of virtual Repair Cafe events.
Okay. And maybe some good folks to contact if you need some help too.
From all over the country, all over the world. It's so interesting.
Yeah. All right. So we wanted to go and we want to see if there's any questions. Like I said, Elizabeth has been killing it in this chat box. I'm going to add her name to the slides as part of this presentation. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, you can raise your hand and Pam will unmute you. You can type them in the chat box and we'll try to field them from there as well.
This photo was taken at the Saratoga Springs Public Library. Casey is on the left, and on the right is Jen Ferris, who is the librarian, the programming librarian there, and in the middle is Wendy Mahaney with Sustainable Saratoga. So she was the point person, and what did she do? She approached the library and said, hey, can we do this together?
Yeah, that was a great event too. I like that one, even though it was after a multi-day state library conference that I attended, so it was a long couple of days.
I took this picture at the very end. Most of the room had, most of the activity had broken down by that point, so people were just kind of wrapping it up.
All right, I see a question from Amy White about small library tips for funding or getting started. Do you have any recommendations, John, or have you seen anything out there to help a library like that?
Well, this is a good question. The fact is that repair cafes are all volunteer, and they really, none of us are even 501c3s. We don't raise money, so we have no budget. But there are costs associated, and so we put out a donation jar, and people are very generous with their donations. And so I will tell you that the primary expense of a repair cafe is pizza for the volunteers.
And the pizza is usually really good too, and that keeps me coming back definitely. And I eat a lot of pizza. I feel justified at the event because I'm doing so much, but I definitely eat too much pizza. There was another question too along those lines. Do you need a dedicated space or makerspace? And I'll say no, you don't need a dedicated space. You know, if the library can take on organizing this and, you know, again, connecting people and finding those repair coaches, there's no reason it can't be done in another space. Of course, take into consideration the issues around COVID-19 and social distancing, but it doesn't have to be at the library. You don't need a dedicated space. You know, and it might be good to start out in a smaller space, right? And then you can grow from there.
Oh, well, yes. And, you know, it's basically a meeting room of one sort or another.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of the things that make a meeting room good, they're accessible, there's good lighting, and generally speaking, carpeted floor is not the best thing. But yeah, and lots of tables. You just need lots of tables.
All right. Pam is calling time on us, and I am going to say thank you, everybody, for coming out today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to John or I, and hopefully we can help you out. And hopefully you can get one of these started where you're coming from, wherever
Well, I
you
will
are at.
say this, and thank you to everyone who joined. Elizabeth and I did write this book because we would love to see repair cafes starting all over the country. And it's not a heavy lift, and if you undertake it, you will get lots of help.
All right, cool. Thank you, John. And thank you, Pam.
Hey, my pleasure. You guys are an inspiration. Thank you so much.
All right. I hate throwing stuff away too, Robin. Pam, do I have to do anything to close up, or can I just exit out of here?
I think you can just leave. Go ahead and leave.
That's how it is now? All right.
Thank you, Pam. So Pam, I see 85 comments in the chats.
Yes, there were a lot of comments, a little back and forth. You answered a lot of the questions as your presentation went along. People asked about the waiver. They asked about our 3D printer parts ever created to fix things, and Elizabeth addressed that in the chat. A lot of people wondered about waivers and tools and where you find experts, and then you went ahead and you talked about those things. So anyway,
I'll do it very briefly, but yeah, there's so much to cover. And thanks, Casey. I think we did okay.
Thanks, John. Yeah, no, great job.
I look forward to picking up a copy of the book. I work in maker spaces and libraries, so it's ready.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. I love that.
Really strong affinity with maker spaces, of course. And tool libraries. Oh my goodness, I didn't even mention tool libraries. I wish I had.
Oh, I know. Tool libraries are awesome. The library of things and knowledge. So that's great. All right. Well, take care, you guys.
Thank you.
I'm gonna close the session.
I will check out.